Well, hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, you doing it in the on the car?
Yes, sir. I am here. We are literally
Uh,
we are literally 2 minutes from the hotel.
you look like such
But I
a
didn't.
you look like such a New Mexico tourist with that freaking
You
hat on,
like
dude.
this? You like it? Man, it's the only blue hat I got. I'm visiting my
Man,
ancestors today.
yeah, we're live by the way, but
Yeah,
wow.
they all know it. You should know it
Why
too.
they got pictures
Where
of
do you
you on
think
their
you
hats
come
over there?
from? Where do you think you come from? Because I'm the bomb.
Mm,
I am too legit to quit.
yeah. Well, I
Now let me
know,
just
I know.
figure out where I'm turning.
I come from Mars. You came from Uranus.
I came from Uranus. Is that what you
No,
said?
Uranus.
Uranus.
Hello,
Get it right.
Nickton.
You're in you're
Welcome.
in the 21st century, buddy. It's
Welcome,
Uranus.
welcome for hopping in. Good to see you. Glad you can make this one.
Who else? Who else here?
Well, so far we got Nickton, and there's three other viewers. We had like 30, but
Nice.
then you hopped on, and they all just disappeared. So
That's because I've got the power.
yeah.
I got the power to remove the crazy.
Oh, yeah. Got you.
No, man, it was a great weekend. Went up to New Mexico and went up and down the north to south. Really, we went up. We stopped by Lubbock first. I saw Fluff on the way and hung out with him a little bit, and then went up to Albuquerque and saw some brothers up there, and went up to the mountain, top of the mountain, the crest of it's Sandia Peak
Hmm.
with the family, and then today we drove down by way of Roswell and
Yeah.
checked out the Alien
That
Museum.
explains the hat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I only brought a red hat. I only brought my New Mexico hat, and I'm wearing blue today. So I had to get a blue hat, and I just waited for Roswell. I wanted this hat.
I got you.
Yes.
I got you.
Yes.
How was the Grand Lodge over there?
I ended up not making it to Grand Lodge. There
Uh,
was I can tell you some Grand Lodge officers made it to Grand Lodge over there
well,
that
I would.
weren't even expected.
Some of our Grand Lodge officers?
Yes.
Oh, which ones?
Right Worshipful Henderson was there,
Mm-hmm.
and I think past Grandmaster Gene Carnes was with him. Oh man, there's no turn there.
Let's see.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
Well, we
There
got
we go. There we go.
Jason Rockenberg says he's on his second scotch of the night, so Dennis may need to insult himself. He does a pretty good job of backing himself in the corner. And then Austin
I can do
White
that.
says that Austin driving and zooming. Only barely
You know-
both. So it's
You know,
totally safe.
I know. I'm fixing to pull into the hotel. All right. I'm gonna make child labor out of my daughter, and oh my gosh, what is this? This is crazy.
It's New Mexico. How complicated can the roads be?
That means I'm gonna make you carry the bags.
Man,
Actually, I'm in Pecos, Texas now.
you're where?
If you wonder who's doing all the drilling, Pecos, Texas. If you
Pecos,
wonder who's doing all the
Texas.
drilling right now, it's in Pecos.
I see.
Yes. I just passed at least a dozen refineries and at least a dozen new rigs going up in
Gotcha.
drilling.
Got you. Man.
So Biden's plan to stop our production didn't work.
Dennis, my friend. Killing me.
All he did was
You're killing me.
create.
All right. Anyway, so
well,
so I
here's
had
what it is.
Walter White is hunting Dennis down. Yes, that's why he's running.
Walter White. Oh, over in New Mexico.
Yes.
Yes.
I had a thought earlier today. I was going to share on the live.
Who said that?
Austin White.
Okay, what's that thought?
All right.
Do it. Let's do it. I'm listening while I'm unpacking.
Okay.
Austin, I was thinking of you the whole time I was in Roswell.
Ugh. Yeah, politics, plug your ears. Yeah, if Dennis starts talking politics, just plug your ears. But
You know what? I'm not angry with Biden. I don't care.
okay. Anyway, I was going to share. I was thinking about the lessons of the of Freemasonry, right? And the symbolism of the skull, right? Like, memento mori. Remember that you will.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that you will
Yeah.
die, and all that.
Yes.
And it really occurred to me like the main purpose of Freemasonry really is to encourage us to leave the world a better place than it was when we got here. Ultimately, like we know.
Well, and to
We know we're going to
realize
die.
we don't have much time to do it.
We don't have much
Yeah.
time to do it. We know we're going to die at some point, and we should leave this world better. It should be when we finally rest. It should be we should be able,
I am leaving the world better. Look at that.
we should be able to rest
Sorry.
easier.
Go ahead.
Knowing that the world is a better place. It's a safer world, a healthier world, happier world, whatever than it was when we got here. So for our children and grandchildren,
Right.
they have something better than we did. Also, why it
Yes.
says Knob Creek stated meeting tomorrow night. They're having Brenner along with DDGM. Ooh. I never had dinner and DDGM.
I haven't all year.
Yeah. They don't go
And
well
I don't
together.
think that I will.
They don't go well together.
No.
You lose your
No.
appetite.
There's not enough antacid for me this year.
Yeah. Nothing against the deputies themselves. I just
No,
Anyway.
no, nothing against them.
Dan Best.
Nothing against them.
What's up, Dan Best?
Hey, Dan.
How's your progress been, Dan?
Yeah,
Dan the man.
Dan had a hard time this week. We don't need to bring that up right now. You and I can talk about it here in a little bit.
Okay. Sounds good. Breakfast for dinner. Oh,
Love
Brenner.
you, Dan. Glad you're here.
Okay, I thought maybe it was a typo. I thought you meant to say dinner. Brenner, breakfast for dinner. I do Brenner a lot. Brenner is easy to make, and the kids love it, and it's the least amount of prep work. We've had sausage and bacon
Yeah,
and waffles.
I excel in that.
Yeah. Bacon's breakfast is my favorite meal, so I don't mind eating it for dinner. Some pancakes.
Dude, I was soaking in the tub today before our long trip
No one
and,
needs that visual.
and got to have bacon. Dude, I got to have bacon in the tub. Who gets to have bacon in the tub? My girls went and got breakfast for us, and I had bacon in the tub.
It's good till you drop it.
You know,
Yeah. Some soggy bacon. Just pick it. Just
there's
take it
a
back out and eat
naysayer
it.
everywhere.
At least you
Right?
didn't eat biscuits and gravy in the tub or something. That would have been really bad. I would really. That biscuit's still good.
Oh, there goes the neighborhood. Come on. And you're saying I'm bad.
Went to this fancy hotel and I had a mimosa and biscuits and gravy in the jacuzzi.
Guys, I want to introduce you to the Hampton Inn in Pecos, Texas.
Is that a wireless headset?
How are you doing there? Yeah. There's my card and here's my ID.
Man.
My wife will be back to get it. Thank you.
Man, nice.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I saw that y'all went up to you were playing in the snow somewhere. Where was that snow at?
Yeah, that was up on Sandia Peak. That was Sandia Peak. On one side, it's all brown. On the south side, and then you go up the tramway, and on the north side, my daughter, I told her, I said, slow down. You got to walk slow. And it wasn't 2 feet later, and she just dropped about 1.5 feet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh man, you need to come on back. I'm not chasing you down.
Yeah.
But there really was. They had some people had to get rescued this weekend.
Oh, you did?
Because it was a pretty good blizzard. I didn't, but some people had to get rescued.
I see. I got you. Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. It was a great time. Everybody ought to take their family to have a little fun every once in a while.
Yeah. Well, the latest episode dropped yesterday. If y'all haven't seen it yet, it's the one about the upcoming Scottish Rite event, and so
yes,
it's going to be.
Oh, cool.
What's up?
I got to tell you, I got a text from Kohanke. He said, "Man, it's y'all talk like I'm dead or something." So I sent him a text that said, "You're dead to me."
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, we used to do that when
No.
Brad was still around. When he was still with us, we used to do these things with Brad. But now he's not with us anymore.
Right, exactly.
He's moved on to Arkansas. Hello, Oscar Cordova. Glad to see you, brother.
Yep.
Good to have you here. And it's all.
Speaking of Arkansas, we're gonna
got like 4 or 5 people right now, and they're all members. Like everyone that.
Very cool.
Yeah, they're all hardcore. Coming in, doing the member thing. Let's see. I'm trying to look at.
Got to be hanging with me.
Yeah. I'm trying to look at.
So let's get back to the topic that you were talking about.
Huh. Which one? The video?
The fact that we're, they're going to see the video. I know they will, especially our members.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, most of them, a lot of them, or several of them, were there already because they got the memo. But no, the topic that you were talking about, that life is short and we only have a certain amount of time to make the world better before we leave it.
Yeah.
That's a good topic to talk about.
Well, what'd you have in mind? Like, what about it specifically, since you brought it back up?
How do you feel about this year? Do you feel like we're leaving it better than we found it?
Thank you so much.
This year, no. Just
Okay.
be frank. We're talking. Charles
Right.
Smith, hello, sir. Thanks for coming on. I don't know. I think we as individuals.
It's been a while.
Like you and I and us at the lodge level, I think the majority of us are working to leave. We're hopefully working to leave the lodges better than they were when we started off the year.
Right.
That clearly can't be the case, right? Because if we look across the state, like a lot of lodges are getting in worse shape. But I would hope that most of us are. I think maybe on a larger scale, there are people that are not.
I'll get it.
That are not going to leave
Right.
the jurisdiction in a better state than it was when they stepped into whatever position they're in.
Right.
But
Right.
At the local level, or at least at the individual, like I know you and I are working to leave Freemasonry and hopefully the world. I mean, at the Masonic level, I'm hoping to leave it a better place because of the efforts I'm doing. I'm probably gonna be affiliated with another lodge, maybe as soon as tomorrow, and help them. I'll give them a 2-year limit. So either either the lodge will be better, it'll be on its feet, or I'll be pushing for it to merge or demise. So hopefully,
Right.
Hopefully I'll leave that lodge in a better place by the end of the year. And then on a personal level, and I know you are too, like I'm involved with lots of different boards and things in my community. So hopefully I'm making it a better place also. And so that when I'm no longer here, it is in a better state than it was when I got here.
Well, I'd like to. Yes, I agree. So we got to just keep on trucking, no matter how we feel about certain larger pictures, and we got to keep on doing what we do best.
Yeah.
And not worry about the big picture. But I really do think so. An adverse way. I think I'm always in an adverse way, buddy. That's why you love me so. But I really do think that in an adverse way, our grand jurisdiction is going to be a little better off by the end of this year. I think that it has sparked enough concern with enough people that it's going to change the direction of what we're doing in Texas Freemason.
Well, sometimes, sometimes things have to get worse before they get better. If we're just being completely frank with each other.
Yeah,
right?
and
because then you have that. Because then you have that reference. Like we had Billings year, right? Now we're having a different approach. And I think at the end, when it's all said and done, people will be able to look back and say, okay, I think I prefer this option.
I'll meet you up there. I'm going to park the truck. Right, right. And I think the same thing's going to happen. Yeah. I truly do.
But as far as like what
no matter what happens this year, the immediate is rough. The immediate is rough. I think long term we will be better.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying if it's the negative outcome that we're all hoping against, but I do think that no matter what happens, there's going to be a lot of brothers that are going to, stop sitting on the fence. Well, they're going to make a decision.
I think
either going to be this way or this way.
What we have to do is adopt a more stoic attitude. And by that I mean, Stoicism is understanding that the only thing you really have control over is you, right? Your thoughts, how you react to things, how you feel about things, right? You and I, we have no control over what happens on a national level, right? Like as far as politics go, we really have no control over what happens on a state level, as far as like in the organizations we're in, particularly Freemasonry. But we do have control over. We have control over ourselves. We have control over our thoughts. And so it's easy to say, well, I don't like how things are going. Woe is me, this year's going to suck. And then go ahead and go about the year as though it sucks, right? Or even worse, saying, hey, my person didn't get elected president, for example. And we're not going into politics here. I'm just saying, my guy didn't get elected president, so the next 4 years they're going to suck. And then you proceed to act like, go about your next 4 years of your life as though they suck. Going back to what we're talking about, memento mori, like you only have so much time in this world. And so to spend even a year, let alone 4 years in the other example, to go about with a mentality like this sucks is terrible, because your mentality determines your reality. And so if you think, well, this Masonic year is just going to suck, I don't like any of the leadership, it's going to suck, well, then you're going to approach your lodge like the year's going to suck. It's just not healthy for the fraternity. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people are going to do, right? I've probably been guilty of it a few times. But we have to understand that the only thing we really have control over, we can't control any decrees or any edicts or who's in charge of what. But what we can have control over is our perception, our thoughts, and to a limited extent, how we do things in our lodges. Are you with us, Dennis? You haven't interrupted me.
Yeah, I had to. I got in my truck to move it, to park it, and I lost my connection. It went to my Bluetooth on my truck, and then I had to get it back on. I'm back on now.
It feels odd to be able to get a complete thought out without any. I was wondering what happened.
Enjoy your moment.
Austin White says y'all need to come visit Knob Creek. I would, bro, but I'm actually going to a different lodge tomorrow. Otherwise I would. Charles Smith says
I am in Pecos, Texas, so I can't.
You can't what? Oh, go to Knob Creek. Got you.
Go to Knob Creek tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Charles Smith says, I think there are centers where lodges are active and growing, and some lodges where they struggle to stay open. It's key to get brothers active. Yeah, but I'll come back to that because I don't disagree. Also, White says, Justin, are you ready to return to reality with the youngins? It's going to happen regardless if I'm ready or not, right? So, regardless how I feel about it tomorrow, 8 o'clock's going to roll around and the kids are going to start coming into the classroom, regardless how ready I am. So, I might as well just mentally prepare myself for it. Agreed. Your thoughts dictate your actions, and Justin, it's called self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. Oh, I know you meant. I assume it was an open invitation for any time I said. I just knew you said tomorrow was a meeting, but I'll definitely come by sometime if you promise to take me across the street after.
What
was I going to say? I was going to come back to something. So it's key to get brothers active. Yeah, that's true.
Oh man, this smells like cigarette smoke in here.
That's true. I
can't do this.
it is I agree that it's
Go ahead. I'm gonna mute this real quick on my side.
okay. It is important to get your brothers active. However, I would also say that people vote with their feet, right? So if you have good leadership and programs that people enjoy, then people will show up, and you'll get the brothers active. If you're doing good things, people will show up. And if you are not, then the opposite's going to happen. You're going to end up with a skeleton crew and struggling to get to open your meetings. So, a good example is if you I guess I'll just make enemies today. But if you compare like the Grandmasters conferences this year to like last year, right? That's a stark contrast. But also if you look at if you look at like just worship masters, like I have one worship master, and people are turning up. They're coming to the meetings. They're coming to the events. And then you have another worship master and nobody's showing up because they have no enthusiasm. Where there is enthusiasm, people will go. If you build it, they will come, right? And by building it, I mean if you build a successful Masonic year, if you plan it beforehand, if you know what you're about, you set your goals, set your vision for the year. All that planning up front will pay dividends throughout the year in the category of people attending.
Hello.
However, are you talking to me?
Yes, sir.
No, hold on.
Okay. Can you?
Y'all go ahead. I'm gonna set you over here while
Okay.
I talk to this gentleman.
That sounds great.
Yes, sir.
Where was I? I totally lost my train of thought. So, yeah, I'm not sure what, let's see where I was going with that. Oh, yeah. So anyway, it's just, it is important to get brothers active, right? But if you look at most lodges, if you look at the rosters, they've already got a large amount of members, right? And what I mean by that is, if a lodge was to get all the members on its roster to come one night to a meeting, it'd be standing room only. You wouldn't have anywhere to sit. Not Austin. Thanks for hopping in, bud. You wouldn't have anywhere to sit. It'd be standing room
Take care,
only.
Austin.
So, it's not about attracting people, new people. Although it's good to have new people, but it's about having programs and things that will attract people.
Right.
Charles Smith.
It doesn't really matter if you attract them if you can't retain them.
Yeah.
Now Charles and them, they've got some special stuff going on in 3, please. Charles has got some special stuff going on in Lubbock, and all the brothers there are working together for this common cause of really improving the Freemasonry in their area.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've got something unique going on, but there's a lot of lodges that are not doing that. And they really should start thinking about what it's going to take to do that.
Yeah. Charles Smith says, I agree with you. That's why you don't vote in brothers that aren't active. If they don't show up, they don't move up. Lodge education, mentorship, and planning teams are key. So that's actually something that's coming up at this lodge that it's looking like I'm going to be affiliating with them, because I was talking to one or two of the brothers, and you got it's one of those lodges where you got one or two people and they're not necessarily secretary trying to run everything. And so he's trying to bring in a brother that's been a warden but hasn't been a past master, but he was a warden like 4 years ago, hasn't showed up since, and he's trying to bring him back to come and be a worshipful master next year. And it's like, why would they be worshipful master if they don't care enough about the lodge to be here now? Why do you think why do you think they care enough about it to be the worshipful master? And it's things like that that kind of rub me the wrong way. Jesse Rockenberg says his wife is being installed in the East for OES 2.5 years ahead of time. She's doing exactly that, planning out her year ahead of time so she's successful, and she's planning to bring back educational part of OES, which is how it used to be. Well, that's great. That's really good. And I mean, I've said
and there's a lot of lodges that are doing that now, so that's good.
I've said this many times, but I think I always go back to my student council days, because I mean, first of all, I really enjoyed it, but because
that's all you have to grasp onto. I understand. We get it.
I don't know if you're talking to me or just random people right now. Talking to me?
No, I was talking to you. I was talking to you.
Okay.
I couldn't miss that one. I had to.
Gotcha. Anyway, so student council, because it's just a really great example of taking something that's dead and getting volunteers to really breathe life back into it. And the first thing that they teach you, it's kind of crazy because student council, right? It is a volunteer student organization, and it's all across the state, all across the country. But when you are a student council sponsor, you can take your council to these little workshops, and they teach you how to run a successful student council, right? And
right.
I mean, sure, we got OLT, but I don't know. This was, I don't know. I think this was more hands-on. But anyway, my point is, one of the first things you do at the beginning of the year is you get a giant calendar, and you go through every month and say, this is what we're doing this month. This is our theme this month. And you got something going on every month. And it's not, we're not talking about, we're going to do a fish fry this month. This month's going to be a raffle. This month we're going to have a pancake breakfast. It's not like that. It's like, it might be like, this month we're going to have, we're going to collect toiletries for veterans, for homeless veterans. Or in this month we're going to do our annual fundraiser, which is fine. And then this month we're going to do this, and so on and so forth. But it's not all about just raising money. Or you might say, this month we're going to have a movie night in the lodge, where we're just all come together and watch movies and have popcorn, something like that. But either way, you have something. You're having activity, because no one joins something just to go to business meetings, right? What's the excitement in that? So it's important to have things that are relevant to the brothers, but are fun also.
Well, and it depends on your area as well. Like Alan,
Jason
Alan
Rockenberg says, "Wow, I'm really enjoying this episode. Maybe Dennis should run around and not talk more often."
Way to go, Jason. See if I answer all your emails and all your messages that you send along my way today. But I was going to say, and you also have to consider the area too. Like in Plano, they adopted a highway, and they go and clean up a section of the highway. That's not asking people for money. That's going and actually contributing to the community as a group.
Yeah.
You know, that's another good way.
Oh, I mean, it really depends. Like you said, it really depends. But it's also about being smart, because I was a member of a lodge. I'm on good terms. I didn't abandon them, but I moved my membership. And one of the first meetings I was there, they're talking about a highway they're adopting. And I'm looking around the lodge room, and there's two guys in the whole room younger than 60. And they're talking about adopting a highway. And it's like, who are you guys expecting to pick up this trash? Because I'm not walking 4 or 5 miles solo and pick up every piece of trash, especially in that part of Texas, because you've got a bunch of meth heads. So you're going to be picking up needles and all kinds of crap.
Teeth,
needles.
Well, and that's one of the faults that we have, is that we automatically think that the young guy is the guy that ought to be doing the internet. The young guy is the guy that ought to be doing Facebook and all this kind of stuff. Not every guy is into that kind of stuff. So we have to, cater what we're doing to our lodge and to our membership. Mm-hmm. I wanted to bring up something that is particularly important to me, that I've seen my lodge up in the city. When I was there, we had a box. We had a big box, and all you had to do was throw toothpaste in there, throw magazines in there, throw everything you had that was worth having, and it went to the Masonic home for all the retirement brothers. Mm-hmm. That's important stuff, because that's something that's not provided for them.
Yeah.
They don't have all that stuff. Sir, here's your other keys. Thank you. Simple things like that. It's not too hard. We gathered in Goliad. We gathered supplies. One of our brothers, his son, was actually a canine handler in the Army, and we gathered supplies for him and his dogs. And actually, not just him, but his whole unit and sent care packages up to them to help them out, to support them, because they don't really get the support for their dogs that they need. So they get basic needs, but really, those dogs are they're everything. So, and they don't make much money. So it's up to those who can do.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw those out. Those are the things that you were saying, and there's easy ways you can make a difference without breaking the bank, and without putting a hardship on your lodge. Those are easy ways to do it, and then it gets people motivated to do more.
Yeah.
Once they start seeing the fruits of their labors, then they start getting motivated to do more.
Oh, absolutely. We did for the York Rite that I'm in last Christmas. We got a needs list, and people could adopt it was anonymous, so they didn't know who it was, but they could adopt a kid, and they get the needs list that goes with it, and they either could donate money or they could just go out and buy the needs that are requested and donate it. And then the brothers anonymously took them to the houses on Christmas. I was like, man, that's great. What a great way to give back to the community and help people out. And there's no notoriety with it. It's all anonymous, and that's okay. I mean, if you're a biblical person, it says don't let the left hand know what the right hand's doing, or something like that. If you're doing charity for publicity, you're not doing charity. You're just doing publicity. Right. But what a great way to give back. And then we also
it's marketing.
It's marketing, yeah. We also gave we had Christmas cards, and every brother took like 100 of them or whatever, and then they took them like local organization like the Lions Club or local churches, and just said, hey, just anonymously fill these out for some veterans if you would. And they did. We got a lot of cards back, like a lot, and they went to Fort Hood, and then they're going to then they went to some brothers overseas or something. So not brothers, just veterans, just not even veterans, I guess. I'm at a loss for words, but enlisted people, some soldiers overseas.
Yes, servicemen.
They got the cards.
You're a good serviceman, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're in the Coast Guard Air Force. You're not really servicemen. You're just
Gotcha.
You're servicing somebody, but not.
Charlie Smith says the situation you're talking about is one where the lodge gets what they voted for. They are all their own men and can vote their conscience. They have to line with those consequences. I agree. And usually
This is true.
I would say if a lodge can't take care of itself, then it will inevitably what's the word I'm looking for? Survival of the fittest will inevitably take hold, right? Natural selection will weed it out.
Yes.
However, I was asked
attrition.
I was asked to come and help with this lodge, and frankly, I think it's a good opportunity to practice a lot of things that we talk about, right? It's hard to do a lot of things at a lot of lodges unless you have a lot of brothers on board, or there's just not a lot of people to argue with you, and that's what we're looking at here. It's just a small dying lodge, and there's a few hard-headed guys, but there's several like-minded people that will be joining, and hopefully we can turn things around. If not, I mean, it's fine. I mean, if we face, I'm sure we'll face quite a bit of adversity, unfortunately, just because they're a small town lodge out in the middle of nowhere. A few people are used to just doing things however they want, without really any kind of consequences or anyone really arguing with it. And if I go, it's not going to happen. I'm just not going to play that game. So
it's a matter of fight or flight. So it's got to, and I'm not trying to be ugly in this in what I'm fixing to say, but the reality is that we have way more buildings than we have members to support them. So at this point, if the lodge isn't growing, if they're not making Masons, if they're not doing things for the community, if they're not making a difference, if they're bumming money from the community, and let me tell you something. We're facing a serious. we're facing a serious economic situation that's fixing to come up. When that happens, guess how many lodges are going to crash? And the reason why is because they are not financially solvent. When it hits the fan, because we already see the inflation happen, when it hits the fan, those lodges have not been learning how to use a budget. They don't know how to read a profit and loss. They don't know how to work on a budget. They don't know how to charge the appropriate dues to keep their lodge going without begging for money from the community. So when the money runs out, the community can't give, and the lodge can't help them like they did back in the 20s and 30s, what's going to happen?
Yeah,
they're going to drop. Mm-hmm. So natural attrition, it's going to happen, and it's fight or flight. Yeah. People need to realize that, and people need to make a decision. I either want my lodge to succeed, and I'm going to do what it takes to make sure that we're solvent, or I'm going to merge this lodge with another lodge so that we collectively can be solvent, and we'll have a better resources with all the different members together to actually provide the education, the mystery, the ritual, the community involvement, all the things that need to be done within a lodge. When these lodges come together, they'll be so much better for it. Yeah. But you got too many people holding on to those old values, just like you're talking about. You're joining a lodge to try and help it, and you will probably get some kickback from the people who are happy with it, happy with themselves being the big fish in a little pond. Mm-hmm. And then what's going to happen next, especially in the next year or so?
Well, a lot of people refuse to merge, but they also refuse to put any work in, right? And it's straightforward. That's what it is. They refuse to merge for whatever principle, but they also refuse to put any work in.
Right.
The lodge I'll be affiliating with, it's got money in the bank. Not a whole lot, right? But it's got money in the bank, and the building's falling apart. It's disgusting. But they're just holding on to that.
Well, if that's the case, if they don't have more than $50,000 in their account, then they're in trouble. So
I'm not a member of any lodge that has more than 50,000, and I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. And I don't disagree.
Well, in a situation like that, you don't have to have that kind of money if you have been paying your way and maintaining your building and all that kind of stuff. But if you're in dire straits, you better have the money, because it's going to be expensive to fix it.
Yeah.
Especially coming up.
Yeah, I agree. But
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm just saying they have money,
I know,
but it's in bad shape. But no,
right. I'm just saying that for our
my mother lodge. My mother lodge. It's got a little bit, but it's not 50,000. I could think of maybe 2 lodges in my area that maybe have 50,000 or more. One for sure. That's Snowman River. That's the big fundraising lodge. They got a lot of money.
Yeah, but is that really their money? I don't think so. That's borrowed money, in my opinion.
Yeah.
When it hits the fan and the community cuts out, because it hits the fan, then they're going to suffer, because that's their business plan.
Yeah.
Right.
And then none of them in Hill County, like Hill County, my district 62. No, none of them have more than 50,000. None of them.
Right. Well, and there's several down in South Texas that don't have that kind of money. I mean, that's the reality. But their buildings are in better shape, and the members step up and take care of what needs to be taken care of, so that it's not a burden to the lodge. So it's.
So that's why I was, what you point out is why I was talking to a brother that's going to be hopefully going to the East next year, if he can get his memory work down. And he was talking about some new guys that are going to be Master Masons this year. He's talking about what office to put them in next year. And I was like, start with Steward, man. Start with a Steward. And I don't mean that from a traditional reason. Like, I'm not talking about like progressive line reasons. I'm saying that every new Mason should learn to have pride in his building. right?
Yes, and serve.
And serve.
Serve the brothers first.
Yes, service because I don't know, seeing Brad Billings standing in that line serving food as people came through at OLT really reminded me how the lessons we learn never should go away, right? You got someone else, probably a steward at one time, serving now with a gold necklace. And I think that's an important thing to teach these people. Like even the Grand Master will serve brothers if he's a good Grand Master.
Right.
But even
y'all have fun.
And I'm not just talking about cooking. I'm talking about the stewards and say, hey, your responsibility. Like if you're going to cook this month, fine. You need to be sure the lodge room's vacuumed, right? Clean the lobby, something like that, and alternate every month.
Well, I think to be honest with you, I think the stewards ought to focus on the dining room and all that, all the, like in ours, it's upstairs and downstairs. So they should deal with the downstairs. The upstairs, in my opinion, should be handled by the Tyler. The Tyler should make sure the jewels are in place and taken care of. The junior deacon and the senior deacon should be making sure that the lodge is in proper order, swept, vacuumed, mopped. The anteroom is taken care of. That's their area to roam. That's their area to serve.
And the senior deacon should also be sure that once people start showing up, he is by that door greeting people.
Yes.
And you never see it. You never see it.
Well, actually, it should be all three. It should be the Tyler, the junior deacon, and the senior deacon, because every one of them are responsible for letting that person in the door. So they should know who's coming to the door, right?
Ideally.
Don't you think?
Ideally. But at a minimum, the senior deacon. And if senior warden could be out there, even better. Because if you need to investigate somebody, and a senior warden investigates, that really streamlines things.
Right. He's guarding the West Gate.
Well,
that's his job.
Yeah.
He's over those, actually. That's his job.
Let's see. It just takes this is Charles Smith. It just takes a spark to ignite their passion. Someone standing up and saying, "Hey, let's do the best we can." Once they take pride in themselves, they'll hopefully start striving. Yeah, and that's why talking about pride. It's important to me that these people develop pride in their building and the fraternity, and it seems to me it'd be so much easier to push to improve the building and maintain it better when you have people caring for it, right?
Yes.
They're not going to be happy with seeing trash on the floor or stains coming up on the ceiling, things like that.
Well, and Charles, the brothers in Lubbock made the right decision. They're utilizing a lodge room in the Scottish Rite instead of having their own separate buildings, so they're able to contribute to not only their lodge but their Scottish Rite. They're supporting the fraternity as a whole because they're doing that instead of wasting money on a building on their own that puts stress on the lodge.
Yeah,
that's an important factor that we have to remember, because you can do so much more when you don't have as much liability.
And that's what I don't understand. Instead of merging your lodge, and frankly, like most merges, most people don't come anymore. Instead of merging a lodge, if you're that bad, sell your building, right, and move your charter to another lodge that has a nice building. I mean, because really,
at least share them. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, share it.
Share it. Got it. Triune. Yeah.
I mean, if your lodge is in a situation where the dues would have to be so high to cover the cost and to maintain and fix everything, then sell the building, keep the money, and move your charter into the other lodge building. Like, why wouldn't you?
And be frugal. Be frugal with that money.
Be
Don't
frugal.
Just
be smart with it. Yep.
Now it's time to buckle down. There's so many times, and that's somewhere where we are failing our fraternity in our lodges, because we're not teaching how to work on a budget and things like that. So, we have, and I've been there. Okay, we have so many brothers that, they have stuff to throw around and they have fun with what their job provides, but they're living paycheck to paycheck, and that's the way that our lodges are working. So if we're running our lodge paycheck to paycheck. And then what are we teaching our brothers?
Well, that's why they don't want
So
to
there
hire
comes
dudes, because they're living paycheck to paycheck.
Right. And I don't want to, I'm not downplaying anybody for the situation they're in, because I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've had hard times. You know, when I went through a divorce, I went into a big hole. I went down to Corpus with one tote, and my truck to Corpus. And I fished for 2 years to try and get my head right. I understand. I've been there. But I learned from it. And now I can actually express the correct things to do to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and move on and build yourself up. And we need to apply the same things in our lodges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But we don't do that. We get a lot of money in our hand. It's kind of like one of my family members that makes $150,000 a year and lives paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And it's one person.
I'm not suggesting that.
And it's one person.
I'm not suggesting that people that live paycheck to paycheck are in poverty. Sometimes the most successful people that appear to be the most successful, they have the worst financial situation of anybody, right?
Right.
And so I've seen people that don't make much money, but they're frugal and they're smart and they're doing well. And I've seen people.
Yes.
I mean, I used to do financial planning, financial management. So yeah, financial planning. So I've seen it, like people that would come in the door and doctors, lawyers, and you expect them to have a lot of money, and you wonder how they're even making ends meet.
Right.
So don't think I'm being judgmental on people that don't make a lot of money, because that's not the case at all.
Right. And I'll tell you that when I was up north, I lived in a 3,400 square foot house in a gated community between 3 country clubs. And I was having a hard time. And then when my wife divorced me, that's all she wrote. Now I'm able to travel everywhere I want to. And my home is a 1,700 square foot house. 1,700 square foot house. And I have all the room I need. I also have a lot of other properties, but that's because I was so frugal with my own expenses that I was able to invest in other properties and other investments. So it just comes down to a mindset of, okay, it's time to buckle down and get real and do what's got to be done for the success of the family. And in the lodge case, we got to buckle down, do what's right for the lodge, so we have a successful platform for the future. Because I'm telling you, the future is not going to be so great coming very soon. So all the people that are fundraising to live are not going to have that money, and it's going to be real hard. Hopefully you have enough put away that you can ride the storm. This storm's going to be a long one.
Yeah.
This storm's going to be a long one. So
let's address these chats real quick. Then I want to come back to what you.
Yeah, you've
been hitting on this a lot tonight, so I want to come back to it.
Will you mute me real quick?
Will I mute you? I will absolutely.
Yeah. I can't do it on my phone.
I've been waiting.
I don't know how.
For this moment. There we go. So we got a few comments here in the chat I want to address real quick. So Oscar Cordova says there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians. And then Charles Smith says when there are too many chiefs, that's when someone needs to whisper good counsel and let the chiefs know that it isn't their lodge. It's the members' lodge and they get a say, not a decision. At best, they work together for the good of the lodge, or they get mad and leave it and let it be the members' lodge. Yeah, I agree. And often these chiefs are past masters, right, that have difficulty letting go. Someone said earlier that it's important to have a servant mentality. I think it was Jason Rackenberg. Yeah, he does right there. But yeah, you have to have a servant mentality. You serve your year or your years, and then you step down. And if someone asks your opinion, or they ask you to do something, and if you're willing to do it, then you do it to the best of your ability. But yeah, I've seen it. Well, we've all seen it. We're all Masons for the most part. We've all seen it. You got too many people trying to run things. Well, really, it should be the worshipful master. It's the worshipful master's lodge.
What's interesting is a lot of times it's people with just a little bit of success, and they feel like they're the big fish in the little pond.
Yeah.
And so they want to tell everybody else what to do.
What's up, Zachary Smith?
Brother Smith, you are exactly right. You are exactly right. It is the lodge's decision on anything that happens. Yeah. And we forget that so many times.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jason Rockenberg says, I strive to be a servant leader and always be willing to get my hands dirty with my members. My office doesn't make me any better than anyone else. Well, no, we all meet on the level, right? At the end of the day, we all meet on the level. The position is meant to be respected, and it's meant to be a leadership position, but that doesn't mean that you're any higher up than anybody. It's just an office temporarily that you take, right? Charles Smith says,
Well, go ahead.
Sam, Jason, we should always strive to meet on the level. We all strive for the common good. Dan Best says, unfortunately, I do not remember who gifted me membership, but I would like to say thank you. I've gotten a lot of good information and members only videos. That was probably Zach Smith. He gifted a lot, and then
Now Oscar's gifted a couple as well.
Oscar gifted a few, and who else was the other one? I can't remember his name all of a sudden. But yeah, there was a few people gifted, and it was very generous. Definitely.
Was it Austin?
No, it wasn't Austin. It was I can't remember the guy's name. If I saw it, I'd recognize it immediately, but I can't remember.
And
his
he's
name.
been a member for a while too.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember.
Yeah. So
I
Oscar,
want to express something.
Hold on, let me finish all this. Oscar says, because we're talking about lodges. This is back when we were talking about lodges moving the charters, right? He says, but then what happens when what happens to all the items from that lodge? The new lodge becomes a storage room. Well, if you merge, it's the same situation, right? If you merge, you have all this furniture you don't know what to do with, and it's not something you
Take
can sell.
the best and sell the rest. Man.
Yeah, well, I mean, who really wants it?
There's
right?
lodges that need stuff.
That's true. But yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Take the best, sell the rest. So there's some lodges that are like little podunk one-horse town lodges that have some of the most amazing furniture in their lodge, right? You'd be surprised.
Yes.
Take it. Use it, adapt it to your lodge, and then
I can't tell you how many lodges need the globes.
Oh yeah,
the
those
spheres.
globes.
I can't tell you how many, including one of my own.
The globes are always janky. Like they're never.
Yeah.
They always look like they're in bad shape. All right. What are we going to share, Dennis?
Well, I wanted to share something real quick. I was talking to my very well alive and one of my favorite people in the world, my mentor in life and fraternity, Bradley Kohanke. We were talking this weekend. So we were talking this weekend about this similar thing, right? And he sent me an image that just said it all. And what it was it had a picture of a guy in a hole, and he was holding up a stone, and other people were walking across that stone. And he said simply that leaders support, they don't rule.
Send me that picture. I like it.
It's not about power. It's about support.
Send me that picture. I like it. If you would, please.
I will.
Yeah, Charles Smith suggests
he's always spot on.
Because he suggests contacting the Grand Lodge of whatever jurisdiction and see if they know of any lodges. And that's very true. I mean, some lodges, like whenever the hurricane came through a few years ago and destroyed all those lodges on the coast, they probably could have used furniture, right? And so, who knows, right? It's good to reach out to the Grand Lodge and just see if they know of any lodges that may need some furniture.
Well, they may have some also from demised lodges.
They probably do.
If you demise, the furniture goes to the Grand Lodge.
They probably do. They probably got a ton of it. Something I wanted to bring up, Dennis. This isn't Masonic, but it's important to address because you keep talking about the financial situation, and it's easy to get caught up in the doom and gloom because, especially if you look on like YouTube, like videos that are doom and gloom get the most hits, right? They're the most popular. They get the most views,
right?
And so it's fear porn. Fear porn sells, right? And
yes.
You see it all the time, like on the conspiracy sites and on Facebook and on TikTok. Fear sells. So it's easy to say, oh, the world's going to end. Finance is going to collapse.
Sky is falling.
Sky is falling. Right. But I mean, Christians have been doing it for 2,000 years, right? The world's going to end. This is a sign. This is it. This is it.
Right.
I never seen anyone so excited to see the world end. But anyway. But my point is,
and disclaimer, he is Christian.
I am Christian, but I don't also don't want to see the world end. I mean, that's kind of
right.
But
right.
anyway, but what is important to understand is regardless if the financial situation, if the bottom drops out tomorrow, or 100 years from now, or 200 years from now, it's important to understand that one day it will, right? You have to look back at Rome. Like Rome, at its height, I don't think anyone could have imagined. Like if you were to show them pictures of what Rome looks like today, like the ruins, like I don't think anyone could imagine that their civilization at its height could ever fall and be taken over and picked apart and destroyed, right? So they had Greece, the Mayans, Egypt, ancient China, the Aztecs. Yeah, I don't think any of these people at their height you could have came to them and had a sincere conversation about their civilization collapsing. But I say that because I don't think there's really anyone today you could go up to and have a sincere conversation. Well, like you guys probably, but Joe Schmo, random dude on the street, talking about the world coming to an end, you're gonna come across as like a nut, right? But it's important to understand that the universe is cyclical. Everything happens in cycles. That's where I'm going with this. The sun revolves around it has its own axis that it revolves around. The earth revolves around the sun. The moon revolves around the earth. You have the seasons. They alternate. People die. People are born. People die. People are born. Everything in nature, even if you look at the atoms, like if you look on the larger scale, if you look on the smallest scale, things are cyclical. And that has been the exception. I mean, that has been the norm. That is something that cannot be changed. It's just a law of nature. It's a hermetic principle. Everything is cyclical, and it will continue. And so my point is, one day, the civilization as we know it will cease to exist, right? And I'm not saying the world ends. I'm not suggesting it's the end of the world. What I'm saying is we may find ourselves all of a sudden living. All it takes is one solar flare pointed in the right direction, and we don't have electricity anymore. And so it may be that one day you wake up and you're living in the Wild West, right? Or it may be something so dramatic that it resets everything. We're back to banging rocks together, trying to figure things out. And I'm not entirely sure that it hasn't happened at some point in the past. Hello, Caesar Rubio. Welcome. And so to suggest that the financial institution may collapse or that just inflation is going to run away and things are going to get crazy, it's not outside the realm of possibility, right? And in fact, it would have happened numerous times over if it wasn't for very drastic measures that were taken by the government in the past. I would argue that the drastic measures only prolonged and will inevitably make things worse in the long run. But it was prolonged, right? Because as long as it didn't happen when I'm in office, it's not my fault, kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, inevitably one day something's going to happen. It's going to happen. I
got something to say about that. I was thinking about it this weekend also. So go ahead and finish your thing, but I want to say something as well on the same topic.
Go ahead.
I was watching a documentary, and there was a fellow that he was studying the ecosystem in Africa for the past 43 years. Okay. And when he first started and he couldn't imagine anything ever happening to this ecosystem. And then they noticed that the wildebeests or whatever were getting, they thought that the predators were eating too many of the wildebeests, and it was messing up the cycle of life and what have you in this area. And so man started shooting off all these predators. And then all of a sudden, the wildebeest started getting sick because there were too many of them and not enough food. And so finally, all these wildebeest started dying. And then they realized 40 years later, after they left everything alone in an experiment, that once the predators came back, that was the natural balance of things. Mm-hmm. So what has happened in our earth, in our world, is that we have become the major predator. We're the ones that are killing off all the predators smaller than us, the ones that keep the balance in the ecosystem. So no matter what happens with us as people, the world's going to live. Unless an asteroid comes and destroys it, the world's going to regenerate and going to keep going on. And we're going to disappear. We're the ones that are at fault. We're the ones that are killing everything. So we need to be more mindful of the balance of nature in life in general. And I think that applies to our lodges as well, because we're not holding a good balance within our lodges. It's one side or the other.
We have
everybody's fighting each other.
We have too many wildebeests in our lodges.
Trying to kill each other. Yeah, we do have a lot of wildebeests. And then the predators are trying to kill them off.
I'm not necessarily being metaphorical.
Instead of letting the natural progression happen or whatever. Hmm. But anyways, the man of the predators are trying to kill them off instead of letting natural selection happen. Yeah. And so it's just hurting us all. So we need to become more united and more understanding of each other and help each other instead of trying to hurt each other.
Yep. Jason Rockenberg says, I finally had to stand up at Guadalupe Lodge as secretary and go through all of our finances to get some of the brothers to stop telling everyone that we were losing money every month. The general attitude towards our finances changed dramatically after that. Well, you notice that it was after you educated everybody, though, right? And I think too often the treasurers do not share the information very well, right? Standing up and saying, hey, this is how much came in, this is how much came out, this is what our balance is, that's not really a very good job. That's not being a very good custodian of our money, right?
Well, we've talked about that before, that the Form 71 shouldn't be the only thing that goes in that audit, that there should be an actual presentation by the treasurer and the audit committee to show the lodge.
I think there should be a balance sheet
where they are
every month.
Yes.
A balance sheet.
Yes.
This is what came
profit
in.
And loss.
This is what went out. Profit and loss. Show us.
We do it in business.
Do it. Itemize
if
it.
I was
and the lodge is a business. So itemize it and show me what's coming in and what's going out.
Yes.
I mean, every
and then you can see where you're bleeding, and then you can fix it.
And you could say, well, that's more than the treasurer really should have to do. It's not more than he should have to do. It's not more than he should have to do.
No. That's his job.
It's his job. And once you get the hang of it, once you get a format going, you're fine, right? I think the biggest hurdle
anybody that needs an Excel spreadsheet, call Jason.
But has he got one?
He likes making spreadsheets.
Oh, he likes making.
He loves making spreadsheets. He's the Excel. He excels in Excel.
Well, I'm sure even Excel has a template, or you can Google profit and loss templates.
Oh, you definitely can. You definitely can. I did it with my first business.
Yeah, but I mean, just put something together and let people know. And you don't have to give a copy to everybody, but have copies on hand and pass it around or something. Pass it around before the meeting when everyone's sitting around BSing for the first 10 minutes before you open the door. Pass it around so everyone has a chance to look at it. And then when the treasurer gives his report, the treasury report can be short and sweet. And if anyone has questions, they got the profit and loss they can ask questions off of. They have the information.
Yes. I think that's the way it should be with the secretaries, reading of the minutes and all that kind of stuff too. If there's, just make them available, let everybody read through them. If they don't want to read them, don't take the pamphlet and have it as a pamphlet in the lodge. So it's not a law. It's not. Yeah.
To cause them to be read. I went to a lodge, and I won't name the lodge, but it was in College Station. And that's what they did. Like the secretary printed off 1 or 2 copies, and they passed it around in that same little period I'm talking about. And you'd be surprised some people just didn't care to look. Really, you wouldn't be surprised. But a lot of people, the people that care look, and the people that don't look. And then when it's time for the reading of minutes, the secretary says, hey, everyone had a chance to read it that wants to? And if so, are there any changes? And if not, we'll move on.
Yeah, if the junior and senior warden don't look, they don't need to go forward. Just saying.
Yeah.
Because they become CEO eventually.
Oscar Cordova says, but that should be at a steady meeting. I think that should be An officers meeting. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Oscar. I'm not sure where you're coming from there. Dan Best says history always repeats itself. It does. It absolutely does.
Yes, it does.
There's a reason. There's a reason we say that. You got. I don't know, man. I think if you look at like parts of look at like Chernobyl, right? It got abandoned and no one's been there in probably like 30 years now. And nature has taken it over, right? Roads are disappearing, buildings are falling apart, nature's taking it over. How do you think it's going to look in 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, right? And so...
Yeah, look at the Mayan temples down in Mexico.
Yeah. They just found, using some kind of advanced sonar. Not sonograms, sonar.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep, I've seen that.
Like a huge, massive city complex.
From the satellite?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it is absurd how developed the Yucatan Peninsula was. And it's all overgrown. That's the rainforest. You could say it's the rainforest, but I mean, you got to understand, like the soil in the rainforest is very thin and not very high quality. And so it's just the foliage.
A lot like New Mexico.
It's just the foliage that's taking it over, right? And it's so my point is, like, you could have a civilization like 10,000, 30,000 years ago that for whatever reason collapsed, and there could be no evidence of it. No evidence. I mean, we find a few odd things here and there, right? But there could be no evidence. It could be totally erased. And that's where I'm going with this. That's where I'm going. Like, history repeats itself. And this idea that we are the first go of mankind and a civilization, well, we know that's not true, because we listed several already that have risen and fallen, right? And we're not, just because we're more advanced technologically, that doesn't put us as an exception. Because, like I said, we're still at the mercy of nature. Like, something could happen and it doesn't matter. Like, you could lose all your internet. You could use your electricity.
God is in control. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. See here.
Yeah.
Charles Smith says, I believe it should be a stated meeting, let everyone see. Money isn't something to be hidden. If someone doesn't want to see it, they'll ignore it. And then Oscar says that shouldn't be at a stated meeting. I don't know. Frankly, first and foremost, if we're being honest, a stated meeting really is a business meeting, right? Now you could, or at least they typically are.
I forgot my keys.
And so there's a few ways you can approach that. You could say, hey, we'll have a stated meeting and then we'll do education after, or you could say, call it a business meeting or something like that. I don't know. Like, the best, your mileage may vary. It depends on your lodge. But I think if you're having a business meeting, stated meeting, business meeting, there should definitely be a reading of the treasury report and all that stuff. Dan Best says, if you look,
you should read the annual. I mean, you should read the communication from the secretary, but everything else that has to do with the lodge, you can have that written out ahead of time.
Yeah.
You can even have the grand secretary's information written out as well with it. But I think for some of the people, they like to hear that part, but I think, that way, and I hate it when, if it is the secretary reading it off, they decide what's best for people to hear and what's not best.
Yeah.
So I would rather see the paper in front of them where they get to choose, as opposed to the secretary deciding what they should hear or not hear.
Yeah, and I think that's where Oscar's going with that. Like, he said, I see the point, but then it should be posted or copies give it out, not really a prolonged thing. I agree. That's what we're saying. Like, if you're going to do a profit and loss, don't go through every line item at the treasury report. But pass it out.
That would kill
pass it out and give everybody the opportunity to look it over, right? But as far as like stated meeting, it pretty much has to be a business meeting, because there's so many things that are required, at least here in Texas, by Grand Lodge. Like, by the time you're going through the minutes and all the Grand Masters reports and all the Grand Lodge reports and all the voting and everything, you might as well just call it a business meeting and do all the business. Now, if you want to do like a
but I do think annually it should be done.
What?
I think it should be done annually.
have the report like I was talking about, the audit.
Oh, it's gone through.
Report and
Yeah,
have an
probably.
actual audit done, a presentation. I think annually.
I agree. At least once it should be. At least once. But really, if you want to do like education and stuff like that, find a way to make it work.
It's not feasible to do both.
It's not. Yeah. It's not. Like I've tried it, man. And like you got a guest speaker and they want to talk 20 minutes. You're not gonna rush them. They drove an hour to get there. They're gonna talk 20 minutes. You already had an hour and a half meeting going over business. It's a long meeting, right? I would say like the way our York guy. What are you? Are you in a hurricane or something?
Yeah. West Texas, man.
Oh my God.
Here, I'll take out the microphone. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, do something. Oh man.
Is it still out?
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna mute you for a minute.
Excuse me.
You sound like you're in a hurricane. I don't remember what I was gonna say now. Dennis, you're so dramatic. Jeez, dude. Let's see here. Where was I? Oh, so like the way my York rat does things is we have a stated meeting quarterly. We still meet every month, but we have stated meeting quarterly, and that monthly meeting that's not a stated meeting is used for education and things like that. So we'll still have a meal. We may if nothing else, we'll just practice a degree or something. But ideally, we have like a York rat speaker come or just a Masonic speaker come and give some kind of educational speech. And so, like, if you're wanting education, my point is like you can't really get away from the business side of stating meetings. But what you can do is you can say, "Hey, I want to change your bylaws to meet every other month or quarterly," because really you have to meet a minimum of 4 times a year. And so you can say, "We're just going to meet quarterly officially and have our business meetings in," because I don't necessarily think you need to. I don't think most lodges need to officially meet in the capacity that they do every month. But you could say, "Hey, we're gonna meet every
right.
other month,"
That's
or something like that as a stated meeting, and then.
Well, that's what our commandery does. Yeah, we have a stated meeting one month, and the next month is practice. Stating 1 month, next month is practice.
Yeah, I think that's good. But something. Yeah.
Mix it up. Yes.
Are you back?
And we're actually
I'm not hearing you, dude.
Yes.
You're breaking up too bad.
we're actually going to what?
You're breaking up. You're choppy as crap.
No.
Yeah. You were fine in the hotel room. You just gotta sit still.
Are you there?
Hello? Are you there?
I could hear you, but you couldn't hear me, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I'm okay with that. Are you back? By the way, while we're waiting on Dennis to finish his shenanigans, we got 12 viewers right now and 4 likes. 4 likes on this whole stream. We've had 55 views and we got 4 likes. So if you're watching this right now, if you would, please drop a like so that it makes the algorithm happy and it helps push this out to more people. Boomer mom. Hey, he's an Xer. He has no excuse. He's a Gen Xer.
Who? Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am, baby.
One of the commenters, A1 Kev, says boomer,
and I believe,
boomer moment. Like, no.
I believe.
Charles Smith says he lives in Lubbock and that is lightweight compared to what he deals with regularly.
Yeah, I know. I drove through it on my way. I saw Fluff came over and saw me at the hotel in Lubbock the other night when we drove through. We stopped in Lubbock and we didn't get there early enough to hang out with you guys. I really wanted to, but I just didn't get there early enough. But yeah, those sandstorms, I will never live in Lubbock. Oh, never.
You hung out with Fluff earlier, you said?
On my way up to New Mexico, he stopped by and visited me after he left Lodge.
Oh, how long did y'all hang out?
Do what?
How long did y'all hang out?
Just a few minutes because I was freezing my ass off.
Oh.
He was in a t-shirt and I'm in a coat. and I'm freezing my butt off, and he's just sitting there talking. It's like, oh my gosh, how can you do this?
Well, he's a big guy. It's probably no big deal for him.
Well, they're just used to it.
I don't mean fat or anything. He's probably used to it, but he's taller than I am. I mean, I'm like 5'11". He's a giant. Charles Smith says if you let him know, he would have swung by. So way to go, Dennis.
I'm sorry.
Way to be a snob. What an elitist.
I was trying to work, pay the cost to be the boss. No,
yeah, okay.
Charles, I'm sorry. I really did want to come because I knew that y'all would have been there. Y'all all went over to that lodge, and I really wanted to go and visit with y'all, but I just didn't get there in time. Y'all were already started by the time I got there, and it would have taken me an extra 30 minutes to get up there.
You just bust in.
I really did want to.
Just bust in. It doesn't matter if they started or not. Just go in there. Say,
just throw the door open. Confront the Tyler and say, hey, you know who I am?
Let me in.
Hey, let me just start with this.
You stop that now.
Right.
That's the way to do it, man.
No, but I was disappointed I didn't see you and your brother. I'm telling you.
I just realized
next time we will for sure.
My window's all jacked up. Let's fix that real quick. There we go. Oh my gosh. There we go.
Now that's better. A millennial.
That looks better. I was cut off. No one said anything. I'm disappointed. No one said anything. There we go. That should be better now.
I saw you.
Man, I was all off to the side and everything, like the whole Masonic improvement.
You don't even look at. You never look at the camera anyways. You're always looking at your screen. You're never looking at the camera when you're talking.
Who looks at a camera and talks? I'm not a weirdo. That's like something a sociopath would do. I look at myself. I'm a narcissist, not a sociopath. Jeez. Charles Smith says they wouldn't have minded you joining. He would have vouched for you. So you really have no excuse. You just dropped the ball.
You're right. I did. I was pretty worn out, man. That's a long haul. That's a long haul. Thank
you very much, Freddie. Freddie donated 99 cents. Definitely appreciate that. We're always happy to have any donations or new members or anything like that. That definitely helps. So definitely appreciate that. That's very generous.
Well, and speaking of contributions, brothers, don't forget we've got the Masonic Improvement Summit, Building a Better Brotherhood. That's going to happen down in Corpus, and use your change towards that and come see us. Mm-hmm. It's going to be an awesome event. We've got some of the brightest individuals in Texas, Arkansas, and New Mexico Freemasonry coming to our event.
We just interviewed our first guest that we are announcing, and that video will come out next week, unless you are a member. Because we recorded.
They were there.
Well, two of them were, but we also recorded, and I think that was partially my fault because I screwed up the dates on the Zoom.
Millennial.
Yeah.
Millennial. Whatever. Yes, you did.
Also.
And times.
But since
dates and times.
Since we recorded that, no, the time was right. But since
it was an AM. You had 9:30 AM. Jason Reichenberg asked me.
We'd already been talking for 12 hours by the time you got there, Dennis. But anyway. Since we recorded two at once, that will be released tomorrow. Normally I release the members only videos at the same time, but I'm releasing this one tomorrow because it's going to basically, you're getting 2 for 1. Totally uncut too. Yes. So boosters and above, you get the full, it's like an hour, 20 minutes, the full video talking about the Scottish Rite reunion, as well as unveiling our new speaker and talking about his book. Our first speaker. So that's really exciting. By the way, if you haven't checked out the most recent video, if you're in the San Antonio area, if you want to go Scottish Rite, it's some great content there. I'm actually searching up the Eventbrite link for our summit while we're just kind of doing our thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, brothers, for all the members that are here, this week on Wednesday we're going to do it again, and we've got our next presenter that we're going to interview on Wednesday, and so make sure and show up for that. It's going to be another good interview. You're going to enjoy it, and I can't wait. This is one of our out of town
presenters. One of our
Ooh.
grands from a different land.
Ooh, grand from a different land. Oh, spoiler.
What a teaser, right?
Spoiler. So I just pinned a message in the chat log. Let's see here. With the link for tickets for the Masonic Improvement Summit. We've sold quite a few already. Got a lot of people talking about it, how they're going to buy tickets. I would encourage you to do so, because if you wait till last minute, you probably will not be able to get a ticket. So
yeah, once they're gone, they're gone.
Yes, as soon as you can, you should definitely go ahead and get that ticket if you plan on coming. It's going to be, I mean, I'm pumped. That's the highlight of my year already. I'm excited about it.
Yes,
so
I truly am as well. It's all I talk about when I see people.
Yes.
Let's see. Just so that y'all know, for the members, and these are the members that are not just subscribers, but actually paying members to the Masonic Improvement
YouTube. The Inner Circle.
YouTube.
I like calling it the Inner Circle. It sounds way more prestigious.
The Inner Circle. And we're opening it up to all the members of the Inner Circle. You don't have to be top tier either. So what happens in these interviews is, not only do we have the interview, but afterwards we allow y'all to ask our interviewee questions. So
that went really well last time too.
If you have any questions on the content that we're discussing, then you have your moment to discuss with that person and ask questions on things that we've discussed. So it's really a cool time. It's really a one-on-one with some of the brightest and most intelligent members of our fraternity in the U.S. Really, I mean, some of these guys they're right up there with the tops of the tops.
Yep. Let me look here. So Freddie, who donated 99 cents, says, "Good evening, brothers. Much love from Long Island, New York." Thank you, Freddie, for coming. Definitely appreciate you hopping in. Let's see. Charles Smith says, I'm not sure he's talking about. He has a job to do this. He is carrying your weight and running the stream. Oh yeah, he's talking about me. Yeah. Yeah, man, I got this. It's a long job.
Somebody's got to be the talent. Somebody's got to be the grunt. That's all there is to it.
So what are you?
I'm just saying. Just saying.
Zach Smith says he tried connecting to Zoom on Wednesday at 10:30 p.m. and said different date, wasn't led into a meeting. Zach, what state are you in? I don't remember what state you're in. I don't know. Like, we started, I don't remember what time we started. It was like 9:15 on Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? It was Wednesday. But it was actually kind Wednesday. It was a little bit shorter meeting than usual. Because we, first of all, we've had Chris on twice. And
why did you just say that?
You didn't know who. It didn't say which Chris it was. But
all they have to do is go back and look at who's been twice.
They might not have.
Golly, you're such a millennial.
We've had a few people on twice.
Man,
but anyway,
if you were in the room, I would push your face. Get out of the room.
We've had a few people on twice. But anyway,
awesome.
This person's been on twice, so and we
you guys, I'm not the only one.
We cover what we want.
I'm not the only one.
I pulled the dentist.
We're two birds of a feather. I'm telling you.
But anyway, so maybe just we're recording as long as usual. Maybe that's why. But I
want to jump. Go ahead.
Oscar says he tried to be at the Zoom, but it couldn't connect, and hopefully he won't be driving. Zach's in New York, so you're an hour ahead. Are we an hour behind?
They're an hour ahead.
Is it an hour ahead?
Yeah, so they're 10:30 when we're 9:30.
10:30 when we're 9:30. I don't know what could have happened then. I'm not sure. Well, I don't know.
Well, he could probably since he's an IT guy.
Yeah,
it may be the guy messing with the keyboard there.
I don't know. No, we had two people. We had two members on. I didn't even see.
We did. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how.
I didn't even see Zach Smith pop up. I'm not sure what happened. I think it was I don't know, because I know I put some stuff in wrong, like some dates and stuff. That's what I get for doing scheduling things at a stupid time. But I'm not sure. Well, hopefully the next time we won't have this issue, because
I was wondering where you were.
Yeah, he did really actually. He said he was surprised you didn't pop in. So yeah, hopefully we'll get that resolved.
So great, we'll get to see you this week.
I'll be more. Yeah, for sure. So this Wednesday we're doing the same thing. We're allowing members to be in the Zoom, and we'll have our new guest. The realist is here. He says, "Good morning, brethren, from a very wet northwest England." That sounds awesome, to be honest with you.
Oh man.
Except he says
Yes,
it's 4 a.m. 4 a.m. doesn't sound awesome, but being northwest England with the rain.
My brother, thank you
nice.
so much for coming to visit us at 4 a.m. in the morning. That is awesome. We so appreciate that.
Yeah. Zach Smith says,
We
no big
need
deal, but it's a big deal to me because I like things to run like they're supposed to. And the time thing was on me, but hopefully we'll get that figured out. Yeah, look forward to seeing you also, bro. But yeah, it's a big deal to me just because I don't like things not working like they're supposed to.
I'd like to jump back real quick. Earlier, Charles, he made a very strong point that we really just talked through, and I've been thinking about this weekend as well. And I was talking to Brother Alejandro from Mexico this weekend, and we were talking about some New things going on. And no, from Mexico.
Okay, all right.
I was talking to him.
Gotcha.
But anyways, we talk every once in a while. So anyways, I was talking to him, and we were talking about some of the stuff going on, and he really touched on something that's really important that Charles and Brother Smith is doing in Lubbock, and they've got some good cohesion going on there. Unity. What we really need is to try to find the point of connection with the ones that are causing so much strife right now within our fraternity, and try to find that positive point that we can gather around, instead of just focusing on our differences. I think he's probably right. I think he is. They're having a hard time in their area as well with division in their jurisdiction.
Oh,
and no. Charles isn't. No.
Oh,
I'm talking about Alejandro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Alejandro. So they're having some tough times too with some division within the fraternity, and
that's interesting.
And I think he's probably right that we really do need to try to find the focus point that we can come together on and stop looking for the points of division. Though until somebody else is willing to do that, then it's hard for us to do that, but we have to be willing to.
I think it
goes along.
That's ideal, right?
Yeah.
And,
we have to be willing to.
Nothing comes to mind, if that makes sense. And I'm sure you probably thought the same thing. Like I would like to, but nothing comes to mind. Like if someone points it out, I'll be glad to shift the focus. But until then, I'm going to go with what I was saying earlier is accept the things that I cannot change and focus on the things I can. Right. And that would be me doing the best I can to improve myself and improve my lodge, and not play the blame game or be distressed by things that are outside my control.
Right. Well, I think that at the same time we have to, just like, obviously some people won't listen to us when we try to whisper good counsel, right? So in that situation, we at least have to say we believe it's not okay what's happening. So I think we can do that and do it civilly, and say, we want the best outcome for this, for our fraternity. Yeah. I think the goal, though, is to explain and express that, like we've talked about before, that brotherly love is, and peace and harmony is not an end result. It's how you approach each other in debate and dissension. You have to go to each other knowing that brother is trying to do the best that he thinks is possible. Now, in our situation, I don't think that was thought through, but at some point this year, I think that it has to be seen that maybe we could have done things different instead of doubling down, tripling down.
Yeah. I do
I think
the focus.
And that's why I want to say that, is that we got to focus on unity. And for us, maybe it is just in our lodges and in our districts and whatnot. But I think that we have to be available for that conversation. If we shut ourselves off to that conversation, we're no better than the person who's creating the tension in the first place,
so
right?
I was thinking as you were talking, and I did always like the focus on the MWSAs and bringing those about and improving those, because we don't have one of my districts does not have an MWSA, and I know they could be good things. They could be great things. I attended the Dallas one. I attended the one, I don't even know what the jurisdiction is, but in Crum, I gave a presentation at their meeting. And so I think MWSA, when done right, is a very positive thing. So,
right.
So maybe that's what we should focus on. Focus on improving those things. Just personally, because I do agree with those. I think they're important. And for those that aren't in Texas, a MWSA is a Master Warden Secretary Association. It's basically like a umbrella organization over the district, where you just meet with your brothers from all over the district at one time on a semi-regular basis, have a meal, have some kind of education, and it just brings everybody together. And my other district that has one, they used to do like a annual Christmas party, and I always really enjoyed that. And so, I don't know. You're talking about maybe focus on something that you think is positive, that you think is good. And originally I was like, I couldn't think of anything, but maybe that's what it should be. Maybe it should be focusing on, hey, we could do, because I agree with that. I do agree with the MWSAs. I think they are a positive thing if done right.
I think they are too. I have a hard time though with our area, because we're so small. We already visited everybody's lodge, and I think Lubbock is probably the same, even though they're a lot bigger. They already visit everybody's lodge. It's such a community there. It really is.
Well, here's what I think is good about it, is that you can get everybody together from the district, and sure, they're already coming together, but it's at different meetings and stuff, and you still got the lodge.
Yeah, it's a different platform.
But say like you're the president of the MWSA, you can invite people to come speak that align with the direction you think the district needs to go, right? And so everybody's together, and they're all getting the same education, and they're all taking that back to the lodge.
Right. That is good. That's positive.
Yeah.
Especially now that we don't have the district education and the district communication and all that, we really do need an MWSA.
Yeah.
And if we really establish that throughout our grand jurisdiction, then we would be better for it.
Yeah. A few things real quick. So the realist says, when brotherly love starts to be difficult, always remember that peace from the ritual to drop a tear of sympathy over the failings of her brother.
Yes. Wow. That's
That's
big. Thank you. That's a good.
I think it's beautiful.
I like that one.
I don't know that we have that in Texas though. You ever heard that before?
I know.
But it's beautiful.
No, I've never heard it before. That's awesome.
Yeah, I really like that. Dan Best says, I got to go, but I just want to thank everybody here for your time. I want to thank Mr. Dennis for speaking with him the other night and helping him. So good job, Dennis. Thank you for assistance.
Dan. Dan is he's doing things right. He's got his heart in the right place, so everything's going to be just fine. And it's more on Dan than me.
Good. Dan, Charles Smith says it would benefit us, but we do visit regularly. Social media has greatly helped spread news and messages. Yeah, social media is great. Like if your lodge is not implementing it, you should have started implementing it 15 years ago, right? So it'd be like not having a website in 2000. Like why? But I don't even think you have to have a website now. But you definitely have to have a Facebook presence.
I do. Facebook is rented space. Somebody else controls the narrative overall. They control the algorithm. If you have a website,
you have as much control over
you
what you
own
put on your
that
website
space
as you do over Facebook.
But you own it. Nobody else can take it away from you. Sure. That's the thing.
Sure.
Nobody else can censor your website.
So you control the narrative. I think it's very important.
That's a good point. Dan,
But
Dan. Yep.
I was thinking about technology earlier, and I was thinking, because I'm driving through all these little ghost towns through New Mexico and Texas as I'm traveling this weekend, and I'm thinking, technology could actually be the solution to reviving some of these ghost towns that shouldn't be ghost towns. Now that people can work from home and this and that, they can communicate long distance, they can, that could actually revive the ghost towns. So why aren't we utilizing technology more where we can with business purposes and things like that? If we are in a situation to where we're not able to meet, like an MWSA, for instance, if you can't meet every month, have a Zoom meeting for 3 months, and then on the 4th month have an in-person meeting with a dinner and a speaker or whatever. But we can utilize technology to help ourselves instead of continuing to live in the dark ages, thinking that we can't say anything because we're Freemasons. But we just can't talk about the ritual. And in a business meeting, we're not talking about ritual. So why aren't we utilizing that? Why aren't we doing that with committees? Why aren't we doing that with when we're planning fundraisers, I don't want to go into that. When we're planning charity events to where we can give to somebody, when we're giving our scholarships, when we're doing, the things for the community, why aren't we planning that kind of stuff online? Just because everybody's busy. We're all busy trying to make ends meet. So why aren't we utilizing that technology? It can save us just as well as technology could save some of these little towns throughout the big towns, because people can go back home and work on their family farm or whatever and still utilize technology to keep their job and to work with these companies that do that. And so many of them do today.
Yeah, I have a brother-in-law. He works for a large company, and he's like a programmer. He's not even one of the top programmers. He's just a programmer. He has to go to the office, I think, like once a year. I don't even know where the office is at. It's somewhere up north. He's actually in Texas right now. He's been in Texas for like 4 months. He's just working from home.
My ex-brother-in-law, he used to live in Brazil. His wife was teaching for a guy who owned a resort, and he was programming for our government in Brazil.
Yeah, I got a cousin.
Tell me we can't do that.
I got a cousin. His wife teaches. She, I guess the position opened during the pandemic, where it was an online position. She still teaches online for an actual in-person school. She's just an online teacher.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Hampton Inn works fully remotely. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't know that I could work remotely. Personally, I think I'd go crazy, being home with being home all the time. But
being with your kids.
Yeah. That's what I'm gonna say. But if you can do it, I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, if I had,
right.
if it was just me, I could totally work remotely, right? But I have too many distractions. But if you're in a position where you can do it.
Yeah. That and I think that applies to Freemasonry as well. With certain things, we don't have to be in person to do it. This is in person. We do this every week. We do meetings on Wednesday as well when we do our interviews, and it works.
Yeah,
it's a working model. So why can't we utilize that to improve our Freemasonry and be more efficient with our time?
Yeah, I agree. Well, man, it's been almost 2 hours.
All right.
I'm thinking about wrapping her up. You got anything you want to add?
Yeah, we can do that. I think it's been a very good discussion tonight, and I appreciate all the people that have come on. I'm glad to see that Brother Smith came back on. It's been a while. Mm-hmm. And and then our other.
Good to see Zach too.
Yeah, Zach, good to see Zach.
Noctin hasn't been. I think it's been a while since he's been able to make it.
A lot of people came on.
Oscar hasn't been here in a little bit.
And our brother from the UK, from overseas.
The realist, yeah. The realist hadn't been here in a while. So definitely good
That
to see
was
him.
that was awesome.
He said he's
that
at
was
work right now, so he's probably been busy with work.
Yeah.
But,
well, it was great. It was great to see you. And
honestly, if it's 4 a.m. over there, I don't blame him anyway. And Charles Smith, good to see him too. So.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Is that it's been a while, and I'm glad that they took the time to come on and visit with us. And I think that there was a lot of good discussion tonight from
definitely.
our listeners more so than us. I think that they had very excellent points that we need to think about and contemplate going forward, and so that we can focus on helping our Freemasonry and keeping our own sanity in the process.
Yeah. Good to see you, Realist. Thanks for hopping in, bud.
Yes, being the better man sometimes means stepping back and only focusing on what you can focus on.
Yep.
Fix what you can fix, and let other people hash out what you can't do.
Good night, everybody, and be sure you hit the like button on your way out, please. And if you haven't subscribed,
keep it
please
between
be sure
the points,
to do so.
brothers.
Yep. See y'all. Thank y'all again.
Don't forget about your ancestors. This is where we come from, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. After going to Roswell today, this is where we come from.
I'm going to end the stream. I'm in the stream. Click the button. Bye, everybody.
Take care. I'm just playing.